This is Dr. Natalie Lenore Blackman coming back to you with Abiding in the Secret Place. And I found a nice little quiet secret place to just have a few minutes to talk to you a little bit more about the orphan spirit. And I'm going to turn my camera around so you can see how beautiful this spot is. Okay. So beautiful. To me, this is what I imagine the secret place to be like. It's a little bit like what I experienced when I got to go to heaven. And I may have a hard time doing this because the wind is so strong. But why the secret place is so important. And we're going to get into love and we're going to get into trust for summer. But we can't advance in these coming days if we don't have trust in the one that created us, okay? And because he's the only one that can protect us. And the secret place, once we are in that secret place and we develop that relationship where we know that we're adopted, right? That we are no longer orphans, that that orphan spirit is not hindering us from the love of our Father. That orphan spirit is not telling us that we're not good enough or that we're not loved or that the Father doesn't have a plan for our life. And so once we are healed of that orphan spirit, and I am going to walk us through a prayer to do so, but I wanted to talk to you about the importance of that trust, okay? And scripture says, perfect love casts out fear, because fear hath torment, okay? And so fear, we've talked about, has to do with the kidneys, and we will get into a lot of fear in the winter. But we're also going to talk a lot about fear in the summer as well, because it has to do with lack of trust, okay? And so if you don't trust someone or something, then you're going to just have an innate fear of it. And I deal with this all the time. I deal with it every day at my office. People are unsure of holistic medicine or supplements. It's not the norm for them. And so they don't trust it. Therefore, they fear it. Or they don't know me, okay? They've been seeing a vet for 10 years, and then someone sends them to me, and they don't know who I am, and most of the time they don't trust me, okay? And so in that situation, it's just not going to work out, right? I mean, I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot for your pet if you don't have any trust in me, or if you think I'm going to give your pet something that's going to make them sick, then you don't have any trust in me or in what I do. And this is a very common thing. I mean, I deal with it every single day, okay? That's a natural example, but this translates to the Father. And every time I see a person that is distrusting, right? They have trust issues. I'm sure you know that. Maybe you have trust issues. And it rightfully so. I mean, there's been the soul wounds, right, that cause us to have those trust issues. So if we have trust issues, how are we going to trust our Father, right? And there's also scripture that says, if you can't believe in the earthly things, how are you ever going to believe in the heavenly things? Meaning, if you can't understand trust on an earthly level, how much more can you not understand trust on a supernatural level when we're talking about a creator of heaven and earth that you can't see, right? And that in the five senses that you really can't experience tangibly. Now, God becomes tangible once you establish this relationship with him, and once you understand how he communicates with you, once you understand how he loves you, once you understand all of those aspects of him because you know him and you know him in your relationship with him, then then you're able, I just try to back out of here, then you're able to know his heart, and then you know his plans for you, and you know how he's going to take care of you. And that's the love, okay, that casts out fear. And there's going to be things in this life that we're going to have to do, and we're the only one that's going to believe in us is going to be the Father, okay? And if you don't have this trust established in the secret place, when that time comes to do whatever it is that you need to do, you're not going to be able to rely on family members, or maybe your husband or your wife or your partner or your best friend, right? Things are going to be different in this future, and everybody's going to have differing opinions, and you're just not going to be able to rely on the natural things, okay? So that's what this is about. That's what the secret place is about. It's about learning to abide under the wing of the creator of heaven and earth, and that's a supernatural place. And in that supernatural place, we have to come to understand that whatever is hindering us from trusting in that perfect love, we are going to have to release it. And that's what I want to do in this series. I want to walk us through season by season, organ system by organ system, soul wounds, traumas, and let's begin to dig into that soil, right? We're not forgetting what we're talking about, the soil. Let's go in and dig out that soil that's hindering us from, one, producing the fruits that we talked about, but those fruits have to be produced in peace. They have to be produced in an environment of love and of trust. And one of the biggest things I notice, or people get offended when you talk to them about trusting in the Father, and there can be many reasons for that, right? So what glasses do we have on, right? What wounds am I seeing this through? What wounds do I see the Father through, right? Do I have soul wounds from my own earthly father? Do I have soul wounds from men in general? Maybe I can't trust any men, right? Maybe every man I've ever known has hurt me. There are reasons why we may not be able to get to this place of trust. But the orphan spirit is one of the biggest, okay? And so that orphan spirit is, we're going to walk through that. We're going to walk through a prayer regarding that and to get set free of that. But that orphan spirit, and I'm going to put up a picture, maybe in the next one, and I'll just do pictures, but because I'm out here on this beautiful lake tucked back in the marshes. About the only place I could find to get away. But I'm going to put up a picture of what the orphan spirit does. It actually puts up a sphere, okay, like a bubble that hinders, I want you to see that, like it hinders us from receiving and experiencing the love, the perfect love of our Father. And that perfect love, we have to have it if we're going to trust Him. Perfect love casts out fear, because fear hath torment. Fear comes from a lack of trust, okay? So you cannot go into these seasons. We cannot produce this harvest that we want to produce. We cannot expect to be shielded from the chaos from this outside world in the coming days and the shaking that will happen if we don't have trust in our Father. So summer, we're going to spend that time. The first of summer will be spent on time of understanding trust, and maybe while we have trust issues and dealing with the soul wounds that could have caused those trust issues. But most importantly, I wanted to just get on here. I felt like the Father was asking me to show you that the orphan spirit allows us to experience His perfect love, okay? I've done so many things in my life where I've had other people say, you know, they're seeing through their lenses, right? Maybe they've done something similar that I've done, or maybe they've experienced something that I've experienced, but their experience wounded them, okay? And then I am going to be doing the same thing, let's say that, right? And just, we could pick anything. You could pick marriage, you could pick childbirth, you could pick anything that you're going through, and other people are going to give you their opinions, okay, of their experience, but it's going to be through their lenses, okay? So oftentimes, not intentionally, unknowingly, they don't mean to, but they are oftentimes projecting their fear onto you, right? And I've had so many people say, I can't believe you're going to do that. That's just not a good idea. I don't recommend that. Let me tell you about my experience. Let me tell you what happened to me. Da 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 da. And you know what I do? I say, okay, thank you. Shield up, right? My shield of faith is up because I've put on my armor that day, because people don't understand that they can actually dart you with fear and word curses. And so I will go back and sit under the wing with my Father and experience His perfect love and let Him cast out those fiery darts of fear that were shot at me that day, you know, or during that season or that time. And that's only going to get worse, right? Because people are more wounded and more wounded. 2020 and 2021, what it did to everyone. And so when we go to make these leaps of faith, or we want to do something that the Father has called us to do, then we can't allow others' soul wounds to shape us, okay? And so we have got to understand we're trying to release the things in our life that would hinder us from knowing that the Father loves us with perfect love, and that perfect love will not harm us. Okay, and we'll get all into this. People have been told so many things, so many wrong things about the Father, and how He brings on sickness and disease and death and takes family members, and no, we've talked about those were all things that religion didn't have answers for, and so they didn't understand them, right? So they just said, it's God. That was the easiest response. It must be God. Clearly it's God, but it is not. So we'll get into all of that, which could be a place of why you may not be able to get into the secret place, why the secret place may feel elusive, why the secret place may be like where I'm having to go. Look where I had to go. I had to go climb into this marsh. I'm literally in a marsh right now. so I can get alone with my Father, right? But I love getting under His wing, and I love His perfect love. And I love that it casts out fear and worry and doubt and unbelief and mistrust. I love that He speaks to my heart, and that He always has something He needs to tell me that He knows is going to make me produce a harvest, and He's going to plant those seeds in my soil, right? And those seeds are going to produce a harvest. He actually promised that. He said, I watch over my word to see it fulfilled. Right? And those words are His seeds. He watches over those. He watches over those promises. Okay? But the orphan spirit prevents us from knowing that perfect love. And follow me into the next series, because I'll put up the picture that shows what that orphan spirit does to us. That fear, that mistrust, that doubt, that unbelief, and how it blocks us from the love of the Father.